Good afternoon, everyone. And as was mentioned in the introduction earlier, my name is Frederick Perito, and I'm the head of engineering for FileWave Asia Pacific. I was supposed to be presenting today together with FileWave's head of the region, Charles Springate, but unfortunately, Charles is dealing with a minor medical issue today. That's why he wasn't able to make it to this presentation. So I'll be doing the presentation for the whole session, uh, tackling both the business side and the technical side of our application for today. Okay, so let me introduce you to our brand, FileWave. Uh, what is FileWave? FileWave is a an IT asset management tool. And at the same time, we are a mobile device management application and a unified endpoint management system as well. So FileWave has been in the market, in the industry since 1992, having our first headquarters in Switzerland. It was founded in Switzerland, but currently we have three different regional headquarters. The original one, which is in Switzerland, one in Indianapolis in the United States, and just recently we have the Singapore headquarters, which is the Asia Pacific headquarters, including Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. With a global presence, FileWave has representations across Asia in the following countries. It's Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, Thailand, and India. And we are now having efforts to establish our presence as well in Korea and China. Okay, uh, quite significant is the presence in the Philippines. The technical support team or the technical support center for FileWave in the Asia Pacific and Japan region is actually headquartered here in the Philippines. It's a team that started with just three technical support engineers. Uh, and we started working in the Philippines for the Asia Pacific region January of 2020. Uh, 1 year and 6 months after, from an initial personnel of three, we have now expanded to seven, and we are looking forward to further expanding our footprint in the Philippines to be able to address all the needs in the region. Mm. So FileWave as an MDM is a multi-platform device management system. When we say multi-platform device management, it's pretty common to see MDMs to have different modules to integrate with each other for it to be able to manage or adapt into a specific operating system, right? You frequently see MDM applications that are able to support Mac and Android, but not Windows. Or there are times wherein an application is able to support Windows and Android, but not Mac. Now, for it to be able to fully manage other platforms, it needs to have another module integrated to it to make it fully compatible with all of those different platforms. But with FileWave, we don't have that limitation. As you can see from the window, from the slide that you are looking at right now, FileWave has compatibilities and is able to manage Windows, Mac OS, iOS, Chrome OS, and Android. So it's pretty much everything in the current world of mobile devices. Okay. Now, FileWave as a product uh, makes it easier for you to manage your devices using just a single application. I'll be showing this to you later on. I'll be demonstrating a live environment that we have set up for this particular presentation or for this particular event. So with FileWave, you are talking about a single application with a single interface, a single user interface, a single management console that provides reporting and asset viewpoints on the fly. With FileWave, you are able to provide instant access to remote employees that enables them to do work in a more efficient and effective manner. When we say more efficient and more effective manner, because when you have FileWave working for your company, you don't need your end users to go and call your administrators all the time. Our native FileWave feature sets and tools allows your users, your endpoint users, as much autonomy as possible to be able to become more productive and more efficient. Okay. FileWave also gives your users that thing we call as business continuity. Why? Because we all know that leading remote teams can be stressful, right? Especially with the new normal that we are having right now, wherein you've got people working from home while the other are working in the office. And it's a nightmare for IT administrator in managing both type of users, right? Managing users in the office is somehow easier because you have better control since they are all logged in on the internet. On the other hand, managing users from outside the network, those who are working from home, uh, presents unique challenges to the IT admins, right? Say, for example, if a user is having issues at home, how do you help that particular user without having to use a third-party utility to try and troubleshoot the machine, right? With FileWave, you can do all that using just a single application. Okay, FileWave provides inventory management, device tracking, self-healing capabilities. We also have a self-service kiosk, which would enable your organization to run smoothly every step of the way. Okay, FileWave also empowers your workforce by allowing them to work efficiently and productively without the worry of having to get in touch with an external IT administrator to fix things for them, right? Via FileWave self-healing capabilities, a corrupted application, a corrupted file can be restored in an instant. Okay, FileWave also unifies all devices using just a single tool. Regardless if you are trying to manage Chromebooks, if you're trying to manage laptops, or if you are trying to manage Android devices, you don't need multiple management consoles to do all those things. Okay, that's because FileWave has the one we call as an all-inclusive UEM toolkit. Now, when we say an all-inclusive UEM toolkit, what does we really mean by this? Now, when we talk about FileWave, we talk about a single capable management console that gives you all of these features that you are looking at this particular day. Okay, you only need one management console for your desktop and laptop management. You only need one user interface to provide device discovery and geolocation. You only need one console for asset management, patch management, and license management. You would only be needing a single console as well to do mobile device management, to do software application deployment, to enable self-healing technology, to provide software usage analytics and reporting, plus to do remote desktops, right? When you have a user at home having issues with his laptop that is affecting his productivity and efficiency, you don't need to worry about having to use a third-party utility because FileWave already has a remote desktop tool in itself that would allow you to connect to that machine and to troubleshoot that particular device at the comforts of your seat. Okay? So here are some of those features that FileWave is basically employing to help endpoint users be more productive. And one of those is the self-service kiosk. Now, when we talk about self-service kiosk, you are talking about a specific feature in FileWave that gives the organization the capability to approve and publish specific softwares and documents that can be made readily available to all your users for them to install and access anytime in the network. Okay, as long as the device, as long as the user is connected and communicating properly to the server, that person, that user has access to this self-service kiosk, and everything that the organization has approved for publication and installation on devices for employees are made available to them. Okay, so you don't need your employees to think about, say, for example, they have a corrupted application on their end. If they are using Acrobat Reader and then something happened to their Acrobat reader application on the device, they don't need to call IT anymore. Why? Using the self-service kiosk, they would be able to automatically install that particular application. Or say, for example, you need a new application that would allow you to perform your role properly. If the organization has published that application and has authorized that application to be installed on any device, it could be made available by the self-service kiosk, and any user could just simply click on it and install it on their local machine. Okay, so a controlled self-service kiosk allows both local and remote users to install needed pre-approved softwares without compromising IT security standards, compliance, or admin privileges. On-demand software kiosks managed by your organization allows your users to install what they need and when they need it. Now, this is something that is most oftentimes being overlooked by IT organizations. Having a secured source of approved applications in the environment. It's like having a single source of truth for any application that your users can use. Then having a self-service kiosk gives you that particular flexibility, wherein your applications are secured and your applications are readily available anytime. Okay? Now, another interesting feature that we offer at FileWave is the self-healing methodology. This is actually a patented technology that enables corrupted files or missing softwares to be automatically repaired or reinstalled, which would in turn keep your devices functioning and secure, right? So you probably may have heard this thing just now, right? I don't believe any other applications out there is able to do this, right? So what do we exactly mean when we say it automatically repair corrupted files? Okay, the FileWave's self-healing technology allows files to be repaired at the following intervals: every 24 hours or every time the machine restarts. Now, if, say, for example, a file has already been corrupted and it's not yet time to restart your machine, or you don't have the time to wait for 24 hours for that particular file to be restored, you could just simply manually trigger it by running a manual verify on the client machine. So say, for example, you have a document that was published by the organization, and it's supposed to be deployed to all the users. And it happens all the time, right? Especially for those shared documents. And somehow, since you are working from home, by accident, someone accidentally deleted that specific file, right? Using the self-healing technology, you don't need to worry about where to copy that file, right? Because once you click on a manual verify, it will invoke the self-healing technology, and it will automatically restore that file onto your machine. So by doing this, it helps reduce downtime on the devices, and it keeps the users productive. Okay. Now, we have also the one we call as software distribution and deployment, and we call it as file set deployment. Okay. So when we talk about file set deployments in FileWave, we are talking about a modular distribution type of deploying softwares, applications, or files and any other documents into any targeted device. Okay, through FileWave's file set deployment, we could distribute, we could deploy anything, whether it's a software, whether it's a file driver, whether it's a document, whether it's a fixture. We could just simply deploy it on every device on the network, and we do targeted deployment for that one. Okay, so how do we do that? We just simply set up a device association by creating a group of devices that are targeted for that specific file or application, associate the application on that particular device, and that will automatically deploy onto the end users. Okay. So this thing I will be showing you as well on the actual management console later after I run through all of the slides. But the good thing about this is that we do it up to a file level. What do we mean by doing it up to a file level? It means that when we do file set deployments, we could choose which specific folder on the target machine to have that file deployed, right? So say, for example, you've got a requirement for a specific document or an application to be installed on certain folders, restricted folders or shared folders on your machine. FileWave would be able to pinpoint exactly which folder that application will be deployed. And we are able to do that on any machine or on any platform that we are managing. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, FileWave is also an IT asset management tool, right? So, although FileWave we are not saying that we encompass everything that you need to include in an IT asset management utility. Okay, but with FileWave's IT asset management, we are able to keep track of all the devices, and we have the following features available for you, like the creation of real-time queries and the custom searches using your query builder, because we do recognize the fact that not everything is found under our how do you call it, the out-of-the-box queries. We recognize the fact that we don't have everything that you need out of the box. That's why we are giving you the flexibility to create your own queries via the query builder, and we are making more than 1,000 fields available for you so that you can build your report, your query the way you wanted it to be, right? So all reports can be automatically sent to individuals or distribution groups for more consistent auditing of devices. Okay. Now, we have had certain customers or certain people asking us, say, for example, if they would like to include serial numbers or asset tags into our asset management feature, the answer is yes, although you would need to do it by the custom fields using our query builder feature. Okay. Now, FileWave is also an OS patch management utility. And this one is, we find it that people normally ask us about this particular question. How do we handle patch management, right? Because most of the MDMs in the market right now also do patch management. And there are questions that we receive wherein people are asking, do you do patch management? And how do you do patch management, right? So with FileWave, we do patch management by identifying the relevant patches applicable for an operating system, and then we target that system to have the patch deployed specifically to it. Now, we were working with a customer, I think about a couple of weeks back, and the question that was raised to us is whether FileWave makes use of the Windows Software Update Service, the WSUS, right? Because their setup is via WSUS. All machines are connecting to their WSUS servers for patch management. And their concern is that they are in the process of retiring the WSUS server. And they are concerned if FileWave would be able to function and work as a patch management application without the WSUS server. And the short answer is yes. Right? Why? Because through FileWave, we are able to connect to the source of those patches. We are able to connect to Microsoft and to Apple software servers for us to be able to pull down security and software patches to be distributed all across the other systems. So that's the beauty of having FileWave to manage your patch, your patching system in your company. You don't need an intermediary WSUS server to do it for you because we are able to connect directly coming from the source. Okay. Now, here's another thing. Outside of doing patch management, FileWave also do license management. And what do we mean by license management? How does FileWave do this license management? Now, when we talk about license management, we are talking about managing and keeping an inventory, an updated inventory of all the softwares on your system and all the licenses that are available or in use by your users for those specific applications. I'll be showing this one to you as well in the management, the actual management console later. But through FileWave, you could supervise the licensing of all softwares, and that would allow you to reallocate costs from unused license and to manage all of the license renewal dates and other information centrally using just one interface. You could also manage your licenses by purchase order, and you could set up alerts to ensure compliance by your users in terms of whether an application already has an expiring license or based on the number of users that are subscribed to a specific application, right? The license management system of FileWave allows you to see all this information at one go. Again, as I mentioned earlier, FileWave also offers remote management and remote remediation. How? Through the one we call as FileWave's remote assistance. FileWave empowers the IT administrator to remotely support, monitor, and troubleshoot company devices to ensure employee productivity. So how does it work? You could compare it to having a team viewer session with your end users without having to purchase a third-party application, right? Because if a machine is FileWave managed using our own native remote assistance tool or remote assistance utility, which is based on a VNC native application, we are able to remotely connect to a machine and remotely troubleshoot that particular machine. Now, some of the common questions that we encounter is, say, for example, if the user is not in front of the desktop, how would you be able to manage it? Now, FileWave has this option that would allow you to override whatever local account is logged into the machine. For you to be able to connect to the machine without requiring the user to be in front of the machine to troubleshoot it. Because let's face it, most of the time when we troubleshoot issues, it happens after hours, after office hours, right? And it doesn't make sense to let your employees stay in front of the machine just to see you fixing whatever trouble or whatever issue is happening on that device, right? So with FileWave, you allow your user to leave the office. Just simply tell them to keep the machine open and up and running and connected to the server. And you would be able to remote into it, do your troubleshooting, fix the machine in no time. Okay, so that's the good thing and the beauty about having your own remote management and remote remediation feature. At the same time, FileWave also has the ability to remotely wipe and reset your device from anywhere in the world as long as it's connected to the FileWave server, right? So when are these particular instances necessary? Say, for example, you lost your device, okay? Or if your device has been stolen, to protect whatever data is on that device. Once the device connects to the FileWave server, the FileWave server would be able to trigger a remote wipe or a remote reset command that would automatically wipe or reset that device from anywhere. And just about, and you pretty much delete everything on that device, and the user will not be able to recover or get hold of any data that is stored on a laptop or on a mobile phone. And this is something that is very useful, especially for those companies and organizations that has very strict data privacy policies, right? And we also find this thing useful on those companies wherein users are being let go, but they take time for them to return the machines to you. So using FileWave's remote wipe feature, as soon as you offboard the user on your system, you could immediately issue a remote wipe command to that particular device and wipe out everything, delete everything on that particular device. Okay, FileWave since version 14.2 also has the one we call as location tracking and geofencing. Okay, now when we talk about location tracking, we are talking about FileWave knowing and is able to find a managed device based on its last known location. Now, when we talk about the last known location, we are talking about the last time that machine connected properly to the FileWave server. Okay, so the FileWave's location tracking is able to show a single device or a group of device, and you would be able to figure out from the reports the check-in times for that particular machine. Okay, and this is all integrated into the FileWave admin. You don't need to configure anything. You don't need to add any other module to be able to use this. Now, the only thing that we are explaining to our clients is that FileWave's location tracking is dependent on the device location service. So if the user finds out a way to disable location service, then location tracking will not be able to properly function at all. Okay. Sorry. Now, this is how the FileWave Web Console looks like. So it might be a bit small to all of you looking at it right now. So I'll be showing you the actual web console later on. We also have the FileWave dashboard. Now, what is the purpose of having the FileWave dashboard? FileWave dashboard is a graphical representation of everything in your FileWave server. So you could easily display your asset information. You could easily display all your inventory information. You could display the health status of your server. You could display the license management part of your inventory by simply configuring your FileWave dashboard to show it to you, right? So it's like having a one-stop graphical shop for all the informations that are available on your server. And the good thing about it is that once you configure it, when you click on it, it will give you the exact detail of those inventory information and asset information that you are looking for. So that's something that I would also be showing you later. Okay. Now, when we talk about FileWave server, we are talking about a scalable type of technology and infrastructure, right? Now, say for example, if you have an organization that is managing more than 10,000 devices, obviously a single server may not be powerful enough to be able to manage all of those 10,000 devices, especially due to the fact that we are talking about cloud hosting at this point, right? Imagine 10,000 devices all connecting to your FileWave server hosted in the cloud and downloading, say for example, the Adobe collection, which is roughly about 6 gig of data, right? So try to imagine doing that. If you are going to rely on a single FileWave server, it would definitely affect the performance, not just of the download, but of the communication of your devices to the FileWave server as well, right? Now comes your FileWave boosters. So what is the purpose of having your FileWave boosters? FileWave boosters acts as your caching server, okay? It basically utilizes a pull technology wherein users get the contents that they need when available. It throttles the bandwidth for the proper control of large-scale deployments. New users are able to pull whatever they need from the local booster instead of connecting directly to the FileWave server. If you are utilizing FileWave for image deployment, using a FileWave booster would also mean that you localize your image deployment. So instead of your client machine connecting to the cloud-hosted server, it will now go to your local booster and pull the large file or image from that local booster, which would definitely improve performance and connectivity. And boosters are fail-safe. Why? Because you can assign boosters to multiple sites, and a single FileWave client can report up to a maximum of 5 different boosters. So what does it mean? It gives you redundancy, right? If for whatever reason one of your booster fails, your FileWave client would still be able to access the next available booster as soon as it finds that the primary booster is down. So that's the beauty of having your FileWave boosters. Okay, so it's a caching server. It downloads everything from the FileWave server because it is the one who is going to serve all requests coming from your clients. So that takes the load off your FileWave server while improving performance, connectivity, and ease of deployment for your clients. Okay, so when we talk about FileWave, you are pretty much talking about a Swiss knife for MDMs. It's an all-inclusive tool for your mobile device management. Why? Because you have almost everything that you need to be able to manage your devices properly. Okay, you've got a self-service kiosk for authorized access. You've got your remote desktop and your remote wipe to manage machines that are outside of the network. You've got software distributions that allows you to target up to a file level when you are deploying softwares, applications, files, and documents. It has auto report generation. It has a pretty effective patch management that doesn't rely on a Windows update server. You've got access management that allows authorized individual to be able to manage the console and manage the whole environment. It also provides cloud and on-premise type of deployment plus imaging deployment. So this is an important thing that I would like to emphasize. FileWave supports both cloud and on-premise type of deployments. Or you could also have a cloud-hosted FileWave server with on-premise FileWave boosters. So those are the kinds of infrastructure deployments that we support and we are able to work with for the client. Okay, so you would be able to get in touch with us for a pre-product demo by simply using this barcode or QR code. Just simply scan it and you would be redirected to our sales rep. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I would like to show you the actual. So are you able to all see my screen right now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay. So this is our FileWave native admin application, right? So if you are going to look at it, it's pretty much straight up in terms of the features that you are going to need for your environment. And when I mentioned earlier that FileWave supports all types of platform, by simply looking at our inventory queries, you would be able to find out the different types of platforms that FileWave is able to support and work with without any problems, right? You've got the Chrome OS, you've got the iOS, Android, and your Windows. In FileWave, the native admin has the dashboard that would give you a snapshot of everything that is included in the deployment and in your organization. When you click on the clients, it will show you a list of all the devices that are currently enrolled at the server. And FileWave allows you to group devices depending on whatever criteria you decide to use, right? Say, for example, this is an evaluation server that we are using for live demonstration. You would see that we have different groups in here based on LDAP or based on whether they are using Chromebooks or say, for example, on this one, if it's for POCs or for different school groups, or if it's based on smart groups using networks, it's all possible. You could create these different groups with specific criteria for you to be able to properly manage your devices. So if I double click on this one, you would see the list of criteria that you can use to build a smart group. So what happens when you use a smart group? So when you use smart groups, every time you enroll the device and it meets that particular criteria, that device will automatically be sorted into the smart group that you created. So in turn, it makes managing your devices better, more efficient, and easier, right? Now, as mentioned earlier, we've got the file sets. Now, when we talk about the file sets, we are talking about everything that you are deploying on your network or to the target devices, whether those are softwares, files, applications, or whether those are scripts, right? You could also do scripts and deploy it into the different devices on the network. Now, the beauty of having the file sets is that there are certain things that FileWave is not able to do out of the box. Okay, one perfect example is hardware restriction, right? FileWave does not perform any hardware restriction. Say, for example, if you would like to restrict USB devices on target machines, we cannot do that out of the box. But FileWave is giving you that capability to create scripts that would allow you to restrict USB from those devices. Okay, and here's a good example of those particular scripts that we are using right now. Okay, let me give you one example. Yep, this one. If you're going to look at this one, this is a script that restricts users sign-in hours on a machine. Say, for example, you would like to limit your child from using his machine at a certain time. Out of the box, FileWave doesn't have any tool set that would allow you to do that and configure it directly, right? But using the FileWave file set deployment, you could create a script, package it as a file set, and assign it to an individual device. And it can be done. Almost everything that can be done by the script can be deployed using FileWave, regardless whether you're talking about local GPO type of scripts, whether you are talking about blocker scripts, whether you are talking about registry type of scripts, you would be able to do that using FileWave. And this is a sample of that script. Okay, so this script allows your user to use the machine from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. After that, it automatically signs off that user. Now, you are probably thinking, okay, we have created the script, we have already created the file set, how do we deploy it to the machines? Now, you make use of your associations, right? Now, what's the purpose of having your associations? If you've got a file set, say, for example, I've got this one, and I would like this to be deployed only on a single machine, I just simply right-click on it, click Create Association, and it now allows me to pick whatever machine that I would like that script to take effect onto. So that's how easy it is to deploy the scripts that you are creating by associations. Now, if you would like to see how many associations you have, meaning how many software file sets you have created and targeted for specific machines, by clicking on associations, you would also see a broken down view of those file sets and assignments that were given to. Okay. Now we don't have an imaging server right now, but if you have an imaging server, you make use of this particular option to assign an image, to create an image, or to import an image that can be used for deployment to the target devices. You also have the the iOS inventory that shows you all iOS devices on your server or that are registered and enrolled on your FileWave server. Now we also have the license management, wherein it will show you what specific software is installed on a certain device and how many licenses are for that particular device. Okay, so now this is our FileWave native application. Let me show you the web management console. And this is your web management console right now. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, when you look at your association using this one, it will show you a graphical representation of how many softwares you have and how many computers are assigned for that particular deployment. And in this case, you see 4 machines are not yet able to get this Firefox setup file set, and while the others had already been superseded by additional applications that were deployed after this Firefox setup has already been configured on the server, right? Now, you could also have a look at the booster server informations. Okay. Yep. So if you've got boosters configured and enabled on your system, it will show you everything on this one. The traffics received, the average rate of requests, the accepted requests, the active connections, and everything. Okay. So that's about it for my presentation this afternoon. Let me give back the floor to the host right now. And thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them, and I'll